About immigration issues. A plot to carry out a biological terror attack has been foiled in Germany, but Chancellor Angela Merkel continues to take a stand against stronger borders. So, will Europe ever admit that their open migration policy has failed? Joining me now is terror and national security analyst Robin Simcox. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Great to be with you, Heather.
So this failed attack, this was an Islamic terrorism plot, and it was to launch this deadly attack using the toxin ricin, and it was reportedly thwarted just on Thursday. So, you know, initially you hear this report and you think, is Germany learning anything from this? Are they possibly talking about making any changes at all? And apparently they're not. Why?
Well, Chancellor Merkel is obviously very committed to the path she's already taken when it comes to migration. This is an enormously important issue for her. I think that we need to clarify, we need to stress, this is an extremely important moment in Europe. This plot, the development of a biological weapon on European soil, is something that Islamist terrorists have been trying to do for decades. They've achieved it. And it appears as if there was actually US intelligence that helped thwart this plot. Unfortunately, I don't see it bringing about a change in Chancellor Merkel's attitude because she's so politically wedded to the current course, and I think that's a great mistake.
Yeah, as a 29-year-old Tunisian, apparently he was able to not only get the materials to make this, that was in mid-May, he was actually able, as you just said, to move forward and actually create the toxin. Let's take a look at some of the numbers there. There have been 1.4 million refugees that have sought asylum in Germany, and that was just since 2014. There have been 9 terror attacks in Germany since 2015. 6 of those were thwarted attacks in Germany since 2015. You know, I think back to that deadly attack in December of 2016 where the truck was hijacked and then it just went through killing people one after another and injuring them in that Christmas market. It was really horrific. One of the things, from what I understand, that Angela Merkel wants to do is actually take these, you know, immigration, protecting borders, not unilaterally make any changes, but go by a state-by-state basis. Will that help?
Well, it all depends on implementation, really. And also the part of the problem with this as well is that Chancellor Merkel is very wedded to the idea that there is an EU coherent response to this issue.
Right.
She views this as something the European Union together must fix. I think that's really going to be a very hard needle for Merkel to thread, because the views on immigration are very different as you go state by state within Europe. And obviously there's countries like Greece, countries like Italy and parts of the Balkans that have incredible strain placed on them by the overwhelming amount of refugees, asylum seekers and migrants using those routes. And so I think the answer has to involve slowing down the numbers. I mean, the fact is, Germany can't process the amount of people coming in. There was a very interesting interview recently in the New York Times with the head of a German police union who said, look, at this point, we essentially have no idea who is in the country. How can you maintain security if that's the case? You
also mentioned that this latest plot that was foiled, that you had heard that part of how it was foiled was with U.S. intelligence agencies. And I know one of the points you wanted to make was that, you know, they need to increase funding for intelligence agencies there as well.
Well, yeah, absolutely. The numbers that European countries are faced in terms of the amount of people on their terrorism radar, the amount of terror suspects they have to track, is enormous. In the UK alone, there's 23,000, and of course countries don't have anything like the resources to be able to meet the threat at the moment. So intelligence agencies have got to be appropriately funded, and we've got to make sure also that intelligence agencies are talking to each other like they were with the Germans and the US apparently in this case, so they're sharing information and stopping these kind of cataclysmic attacks that we've seen so often in Europe in recent years. All
right. Well, we are so glad that this latest attack was thwarted, though. Robin Simcox, thank you very much for joining us. Great insight for us this morning.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Well, the time now is about 20 minutes until the top of the hour, and a day of fun taking an horrific turn. Riders plunging more than 30 feet after a roller coaster falls off.